You finally have found your social business idea and you are super excited to tell it to the world, starting with your friends and family. But before you do that, watch this video. My name is Solene. I'm the founder of Creators for Good and Social Entrepreneurship Consultant, and every week I give you tips and tricks for your social entrepreneurship journey. Talking about your idea is an important step because even if nothing is materialized yet, it's kind of one of the first steps to make it a reality. So, in this sense, it's a good thing. But you also have to be careful because you have to understand that at this point of time, your idea is quite vulnerable. It's still a bit soft, nothing is set in stone. And only if you can stay confident about this idea and about yourself, then you will be able to take the actions to make it a reality. So in a way, it's your responsibility, you the social entrepreneur, to protect yourself from whatever could make you less confident about yourself and about your idea, and choose wisely who you are going to talk about this idea. In this video, I will share with you the 3 types of people or reactions that you are going to encounter, and basically share you my strategy on how and to who you should talk and how to be strategic about it. I remember that back when I had this idea of starting Creators for Good, I was quite open about it. I didn't think at all that people's reaction could influence my idea. I was just like throwing my idea into the air, and I was quite excited about it, but the reaction of people was not always what I anticipated. And now that I look back, I realized that there are 3 types of reactions. And those people have those reactions not depending on the idea, like is the idea good or not, like does it fit with you or not. They are just having this reaction because of their own story, their own past, their own relationship with what entrepreneurship is, like do they have this urge to create things, or are they more like follower type of people? So in a sense, like whatever your idea is, don't expect the reaction of people to be exactly what it should be, because they also have their own story and their own personality that comes into the place. The first type of reaction that I noticed, or if I group people together, is the skeptical people. So all the reactions that start with "Are you sure? Are you sure you're going to make money out of it? Are you sure it's gonna work? Or like, what are you gonna do if it fails? Like, aren't you afraid to have a blank in your CV?" Um, yeah, like that's actually, now that I think about it, it sounds very funny to react like that to an enterprise and especially a social enterprise idea. But this is, yeah, basically the people who don't really have the confidence to, yeah, start as an entrepreneur, and they are like kind of, yeah, they're skeptical about it. The second type of people are those who are scared, and basically their reaction starts with what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? What if you can't find enough clients? What if this, or what if that? They basically have fear. It's not that they are not confident, but they are fear. And most of the time they actually project their own fear onto you, onto your project. The fear of rejection, what if no one likes it, or what if no one wants to be part of your initiative. The fear for insecurity, what if it fails, what if you can't make it. So you have to understand that if people react with what ifs, it means that they are projecting their own fear or the own reason why they are not entrepreneurs themselves onto you. And then the third type of reactions that I noticed is quite frequent is the enthusiastic ones. And usually their reaction starts with "you should." Like, "Oh, really? Wow, you should talk about it to like Mr. Blah, like I can introduce you." Or, "Oh, you should look at this website. Oh, you should look at this other initiative. You should meet Blah. You should." So now that you know what type of reactions you are going to encounter, it's time to be strategic about what to do with those reactions. And keep in mind that the goal is, yes, to share your idea, but also to protect yourself from the lack of confidence that can sometimes arise from the reactions of your friends and family. And basically, the first thing you have to do is to identify to which group this person belongs. Is he skeptical? Is he scared? Or is he enthusiastic? If the person is skeptical, keep it short. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't try to oversell your idea. There's no way you can convince those people until basically the idea is a reality, until it's created, and then they are like, "Oh yeah, actually it's great, it's looking great, it's having a great impact." But at the idea stage, like, basically try to like cut it short, tell them, "Yes, like this is how it is. What about you? What are your plans? What are you doing next summer?" Whatever, change the subject, because basically the skeptical people, no matter what, no matter what information you will provide, or no matter how hard you want to convince them, basically this will bring you down and bring your confidence down. So like, your responsibility as the entrepreneur and as the one who should keep the confidence high is to basically cut it there. With the people who are scared, my advice is to ask them questions. um, Ask them like, "Why would you be scared of this?" Or would it be difficult for you to do that? This way, like, they can talk about them, and you can really like convince yourself that yes, the reaction they had was actually linked with a fear that they had for themselves, and they were just like projecting their fears onto you. And this can help you preserve your confidence about your project, because you will see that those people actually are scared for their own sake. And now the enthusiastic. So of course, thank them for their enthusiasm and their support, but don't necessarily follow up on all their advices. Otherwise, you will be like overwhelmed with potential things to do or potential things to think of. You can like write them down or like keep them in mind, but don't necessarily follow up on everything, because not every idea or input is good to take. And once again, like, you are the entrepreneur, so you are the one like setting up the priorities and imagining a path to reach your goal. And there are many ways to actually reach this goal, but if you try, if you just like think about all these ways, you will suddenly feel super overwhelmed with everything you have to do and everything you think about. So that's actually maybe not a good thing. So with enthusiastic people, thank them, and maybe, when you have doubts or things like that, you can come back to them, because you know that they are the enthusiastic type. But don't necessarily follow up on every and each advice that people will give you. One last piece of advice: you don't need to tell everyone all the details. I know that you're boiling inside with this creativity, and you're super excited about your idea, but that doesn't mean that you need to get into details with each and every one that is surrounding you in your life. So like, something that you can tell, if it's the very beginning of your social enterprise creation, you can say, "Yeah, you know what, I'm working on becoming a social entrepreneur. I can't go into the details of the idea just yet. I'll tell you more about it once it's done, but I'm super excited." And in general, people will say like, "Oh, wow, great, yeah, I'm excited for you too." and you don't really need to go into the details of how exactly you're gonna do it, and what is your exact idea about, because then you open the door for all those three reactions that I mentioned to you. And also, I remember that when I was passing my driving license, one of my teacher actually advised me not to tell anyone at all, not even my mom and dad, just because if no one knows it's the day, then you have less pressure. Because if then you don't have your pass your driving license, then you don't need to tell anyone that you have failed, and thus the day of the exam you feel more relaxed because it's just about you and making this exam happen. It's not about the whole world looking at you and wondering if you're gonna make it or not. And that's a bit the same for like a business idea. It's sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we don't really need an extra social pressure, and it's fine. It's really fine. Like, if you decide that you want to wait until you tell anyone about this idea, it's really okay. And here I'm talking about like friends and family. Of course, you will need the support of other professionals, of I don't know, entrepreneurs who have been there. Just like when you are passing your driving license, you need teachers to support you. But long story short, make sure that you don't just improvise how you tell people about your idea, and be quite strategic about it. Preserve your self-confidence and preserve the energy that you have to make it happen. Voila, I hope this advice is useful. If you have any question regarding this phase of starting a social enterprise, don't hesitate to write it in the comments below. And also tell us, or tell the others, how was the reaction of people when you started to talk about your social enterprise, if you already have talked about it, because I'm sure that you also can help others not make the same mistakes as you might have done. So thank you in advance for putting all that in the comments below, and I'll see you next week for the next weekly tip. Bye bye.